With the little routine before we do anything else, fill up a bucket with weeds and then replace that with a bucket of compost. The other thing that we changed is we decided to open the drip irrigators to the prickly pears every morning as well. But what we'll do is on every wet spot we'll be planting butternuts as a ground cover so that the water don't go completely to waste. We will be focusing on the other side of the farm again in the mulberry forest. It's been about 4 days, so that's 3 days, 4 days since we watered these plants, and they are actually still moist below the mulch. Oh no, termites. Okay, so that's not a good sign. The termites, we'll probably just put some wood vinegar in there. But they are doing good. They are happy plants, and we'll be focusing on building this swale today. Now this swale brings in water from the road, and it increases our capturing capacity with at least about 3 times. Drops the water right over here, then runs into the various half moon pits, and then after that it runs into that dam that we built by hand about a year ago. So I think this year that dam will fill up completely. Hopefully we'll get a system where we'll fill up these zai pits as well. And the idea behind the permaculture watering system like the zai pit and the swale is that at some stage you no longer have to water your plants. The water that's stored in the earth then becomes enough for the plant itself. So you have a little half moon, let's say like this. It's built on contour or a little bit deeper like that. These ones we filled up with different kinds of mulches and charcoal and so on. And then that half moon pit basically then feeds this tree, and that tree over there. Then once these species are established, you've got a high overstory of mulberries and marulas. As soon as we get marulas, we'll be planting hundreds of marulas, and things like kokina, that's a support species, and then underneath that you can start with smaller, more valuable fruit trees. So you've got your top layer shadowing it or breaking the sun a little bit, lower layer of a tree that's got a valuable crop. Then you've got something that goes up on the trunk, and then you've got veg growing on the ground. In different climates, different kind of things. For us it will be mostly succulents and other kind of ground covering plants. Fruit producing maybe some cow candy, peas, what do you call those peas? But anyway, some sort of pea that adds nitrogen to the soil, fertilizing it and improving the fertility. And then you've got the things going up the trunk. I don't know if I said that. And then you've got something growing below the ground, like a taro root or an onion or a beetroot. So you try to have about seven different layers in the forest at the end of the day. Here the sun is coming up, which is obviously fantastic. Will make it a bit more light to work, but also it's going to be a hot day for Lucas and Simon. That's going to be spending the whole day digging swales. So while I walk back to Simon and I give you the reason to, or a time to subscribe, hit the subscribe button and the bell and so forth, do all those things. I want to tell you why we moved our focus from one side of the farm to the other side of the farm, even though the swale on that side is not done yet. So sometimes, more often than you'll have to stand back, or I'd like to stand back for a day or two on a certain project and just think about where we are going with this. So one of the permaculture principles is observe, observe, observe. And so on that side of the farm, on that specific swale, I'm thinking of different ways of mitigating extreme floods. In a big event where there's more rain coming down than the swale can handle, how do I want to handle it? Do I want to lower a certain part of the swale make it a level spillway? Do I want to put in a swivel pipe? Do I want to take the risk, just build it and say no, you know, there's been 2 dams added on top of it, the chances of us getting such a big flood is not almost doesn't exist. You know, what is it that you want to do? And so sometimes it makes sense to move your focus from one project to another for a day or 3, just to see what is happening. From Simon towards Lucas, I see this little fellow discovered the worm pile. Now, it's actually good food for them, very, very good food for them, and I'm actually quite proud of him for finding it. But this little worm pile pays for my farm. So him eating my worms, which is very expensive in our country, might not be the best idea. Then a friend of mine owns these 2 Moringa trees. One of the few trees in town that's not killed by Moringa trees that's not killed by the cold. So I am going to harvest thousands of Moringa seeds from here now, and then I'm not sure whether I should plant them in the vegetable garden with the other things, but I want to plant them everywhere where we give water, so around every tree, and then we just cut as soon as we believe they are high enough. So if we believe it's busy shading out whatever is next to it, then we cut them out. We've got a couple of small Moringa trees on the farm that has survived the winter that will explode anytime now. I'm not sure whether it will be worth the while to plant them in bags and see if we cannot get them to survive the winter and then plant a bigger tree next year. But I think our best bet is to just put seeds everywhere that gets water, and then we decide from there on which ones lives and which one dies. And some of them will die by themselves, and some we will have to kill later on and use them for a chop and drop section. So one of the best thing about having children is all of the help that they can give you. Not the best thing, but one of the best things. So these boys, hello boys, smile, are separating seeds for me from the Moringa pods, and so they have done that, and they still need to do that and then plant them. But recently they started asking for wages, so I'm not sure how to handle the wages situation with a child yet. I think they are going to start joining a union if I don't agree to the terms. Okay, so that is the end of my story. Please remember to like and subscribe, and then I will see you tomorrow.